At first, your body fights. Your muscles begin contracting again and again, trying to manufacture heat. Your hands become less precise. Simple movements start requiring concentration. You know you're cold. But if your core temperature keeps falling, something more dangerous begins to happen. The brain you depend on to recognize the emergency starts becoming less reliable. Your judgment can weaken. Your coordination can deteriorate. Your speech may begin to slur. Eventually, even the violent shivering that looked like the clearest sign your body was fighting the cold can begin to fade. And that does not necessarily mean you're getting warmer. It can mean you're getting worse. This is what hypothermia can actually feel like, and what is happening inside your body as cold begins changing the way you move, think, breathe, and stay conscious. Hypothermia isn't simply being uncomfortable in cold weather. Clinically, accidental hypothermia means an unintended drop in core body temperature below about 35 degrees Celsius or 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and it doesn't require an Antarctic blizzard. Cold air can do it, but rain, sweat, wet clothing, wind, and cold water can also pull heat away from you. The exact speed varies enormously depending on the environment and the person, so there is no honest universal countdown from cold to unconscious. What matters is whether your body is losing heat faster than it can replace it. Heat can leave you in several ways. Your body radiates heat into the environment. Direct contact with colder material transfers heat away by conduction. Moving air carries warmth away by convection. Evaporation from wet skin or clothing can cool you further. Cold water is particularly effective at drawing heat from the body through conduction. As heat loss increases, your body responds immediately. Blood vessels near your skin constrict. Less warm blood is allowed to circulate through the outermost parts of your body. The goal is simple: preserve heat for the core. Then your muscles join the fight. You shiver. Shivering isn't just a sign that you're cold, it is heat production. Your muscles repeatedly contract, increasing metabolic activity in an attempt to generate warmth. At this stage, you may be painfully aware of the cold. The shaking can become intense, but something else may already be changing. Your fingers don't work quite as well. A zipper becomes harder to pull. Your grip becomes less reliable. Tasks that normally happen automatically can become clumsy and frustrating. Fatigue can build. Coordination can worsen. Memory and thinking can begin to become less dependable. Many clinical references place mild hypothermia roughly between 32 and 35 degrees Celsius, but those numbers are not biological switches. Different staging systems overlap, and clinicians also pay close attention to what a person can actually do, whether they're shivering, whether they're alert, whether they can move normally, and whether they can respond appropriately. That's important because hypothermia is not experienced as a neat thermometer reading. It's experienced as your body gradually losing capabilities. First, precision, then coordination, then judgment. This is where hypothermia becomes especially deceptive. The organ responsible for deciding what to do about the cold is itself being affected by the cold. As cooling progresses, memory, judgment, coordination, and alertness can deteriorate. Confusion and lethargy become more prominent. You may know that something is wrong without processing just how serious it has become. Your movements can become slower. Your speech may become slurred. You may feel profoundly tired or drowsy. And because awareness itself is becoming impaired, a person with hypothermia may not accurately recognize how impaired they are. That creates a dangerous feedback problem. The worse the condition becomes, the less reliable your own decision-making may become. The body is still trying to preserve its core, peripheral blood vessels remain constricted. That redistribution of circulation can also contribute to increased urination, sometimes called cold diuresis, which may worsen fluid loss. But the most visible defense against the cold is approaching its limit. The shivering can begin to weaken. Imagine you've been watching someone shake uncontrollably in the cold. Then the shaking becomes weaker. Then it stops. It might look like an improvement. It can be exactly the opposite. As hypothermia becomes more severe, shivering commonly diminishes or disappears. There isn't one exact temperature where this happens to everyone. Energy stores, illness, injury, drugs, and individual circumstances all matter. But in a person who remains dangerously cold, losing the ability to shiver can be an alarming sign. The body is losing one of its major ways of generating heat. Clinical references often describe moderate hypothermia in the approximate range of 28 to 32 degrees Celsius. Again, the number alone does not define the person in front of you. At this level, consciousness may worsen, lethargy deepens, breathing can slow, heart rate can fall, blood pressure can decrease, reflexes become reduced, the entire system is slowing, and the heart is becoming more vulnerable to abnormal rhythms. This is no longer simply a battle against discomfort. It is a battle to maintain basic physiology. Your brain requires a constant supply of energy and blood flow to maintain consciousness. As severe hypothermia develops, cerebral function declines. Awareness can fade toward unresponsiveness or coma. Meanwhile, the cardiovascular system becomes increasingly unstable. The heart may beat very slowly. Dangerous dysrhythmias become possible. In severe cases, ventricular arrhythmias and cardiac arrest can occur. There isn't one single temperature at which every human heart suddenly stops. That's one reason modern field assessment doesn't rely only on a thermometer. Responsiveness matters. Shivering matters. Physical capacity matters. Cardiovascular stability matters. A person's condition is a collection of signs, not one magic number. And by this point, the experience may no longer resemble the dramatic image most people associate with freezing. The violent shivering may be gone. The person may barely respond. Breathing may be slow. Movement may disappear. The emergency can actually look quieter as it becomes more severe. It's tempting to describe hypothermia as a countdown. 5 minutes, this happens. 30 minutes, this happens. 1 hour, this happens. Human physiology doesn't work that cleanly. Rate of cooling changes with air temperature, water exposure, wind, wetness, clothing, body size, age, health, injury, intoxication, and many other circumstances. Two people in different environments can reach very different conditions over the same amount of time. Even temperature categories are approximate. Mild is often described around 32 to 35 degrees Celsius, moderate around 28 to 32 degrees Celsius, severe below roughly 28 degrees Celsius. But modern staging increasingly emphasizes clinical signs because those ranges overlap and an accurate core temperature may not even be available outside a hospital. So the important progression isn't a stopwatch, it's capability. Can you coordinate your hands? Can you walk normally? Can you think clearly? Are you still shivering? Are you fully responsive? As those capabilities disappear, the emergency is becoming more serious. Hypothermia is a medical emergency when significant warning signs are present. The immediate principle is to stop further heat loss. Get the person away from continued cold exposure. Wet clothing should be removed or safely replaced when possible, and the person should be insulated while medical help is arranged. What happens next depends on severity. Mild, uncomplicated cases may respond to passive rewarming. More serious hypothermia can require active rewarming and hospital care. Selected severe cases may require advanced techniques, including extracorporeal rewarming. That is why there isn't one universal home remedy for hypothermia. The treatment has to match the condition, and severe cases require medical management. Hypothermia reveals something unsettling about the human body. Your defenses against cold are powerful but finite. First, your blood vessels constrict to preserve core heat. Then your muscles burn energy to create warmth through shivering. As cooling continues, fine movement becomes harder, coordination deteriorates, thinking becomes less reliable, fatigue and confusion deepen. Eventually, shivering may weaken or stop. Breathing and heart rate can slow, consciousness can fade, the heart becomes increasingly vulnerable to dangerous rhythms. There isn't one single...
The progression is not identical in every person, and it doesn't follow one universal clock. But one pattern matters more than almost anything else. As hypothermia becomes more dangerous, you may become less capable of recognizing the danger yourself. The cold doesn't only take heat from the body, it can gradually take away the very abilities you need to save yourself. And that is the human limit.